This is breaking news on WDSU.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Camille Whitworth. Right now, we're following breaking news for you out of NOPD headquarters. New policies are being announced for the New Orleans Police Department. Now, all of this is in response to the shooting death of Officer Darrell Holloway. Officer Holloway was laid to rest on Saturday. This is just 1 week after he was killed by a man that he was transporting to Orleans Parish Prison. Police say inside of Holloway's vehicle were 2 guns and Holloway's service weapon. There are still several questions surrounding Officer Holloway's death and if police policies were followed. There are a lot of questions. Where did the guns come from? Were people frisked properly? Did officers follow procedures? Now, according to police, the suspect, Travis Boyes, was frisked for weapons during his first arrest. We want to take a moment and listen to what the Superintendent, Michael Harrison, has to say about this. He's talking about changes that will be made. He has made himself available for media. Let's listen in.
Good afternoon, everybody. Let me start by first thanking all of you for the wonderful coverage you gave to the Holloway funeral, all the events from last week leading all the way up to yesterday. I saw nothing but support from all the media outlets, and so from members of the police department and on behalf of the Holloway family, let me just thank you for all the wonderful coverage. And so today, this morning, I had an opportunity to speak with members of his family, including his mother, Miss Alanda, including Nicole Holloway. You know, she's the mother of his 2 oldest girls, and just had a genuine conversation with them. And so it's my job now to focus, while we focused on giving Officer Holloway the best farewell celebration possible. I think we did that. Now it's time to focus on making sure this never happens again. And so with their support, last week we actually started retraining all of our officers. Our policies regarding searching, our policies regarding frisking, the difference between the two, all the procedural issues regarding searching and frisking, handcuffing, prisoner transportation. We went over all of that. Chief Vardy and I have been working with our commanders, pushing the message all the way down to all of the troops on the streets. It's something we knew we had to do. While there is an ongoing investigation that will tell us the answers to the questions we all have, and those answers will come, we obviously don't need an investigation to do what we know to do. And that's to make sure all of us are safe, and that every officer practices and understands what the policy is, understand what the procedural issues are, and how to go about that every day to make sure that they're safe, that people who are in our custody are safe, and that this type of tragedy absolutely never happens again. We've been in contact with our partners with the Louisiana State Police, who are assisting us in retrofitting all of our police cars. So we will have a metal mesh adapter cage that will be retrofitted into the cages of all the police cars that have the opening that Mr. Boyes was able to crawl through. We're working on pricing and all those partnerships right now to make sure we can outfit those cars in the very, very near future. Partnership is great. They've already made the commitment to us. And so that should begin very shortly. And so with that, we began training last week. Today, there'll be another roll call training. It's happening in every single district until every member of the police department is retrained. Our policies are clear, the procedure's clear. We just want to make sure everybody's aware of it. While we don't know the answers to all of the questions, we want to make sure we do know what the policy states. We do know what the procedure is with handcuffing, with frisking and searching, and prisoner transportation. We just want to be clear and make sure every member of the department is clear, so that this absolutely never happens again. So this time I'll take any questions you may have.
What if anything, can you talk to us what your findings are so far? Did you find that maybe procedures weren't followed to the letter, or any idea yet of where the gun came from or anything like that?
So we don't have the answer to that. That is what the investigation is all about. What we're telling you is, as senior leadership within the police department, we're not waiting for the investigation. We know we should be safe. We know we should practice safety. We know we should abide by policies and procedures. We're not saying that anyone violated policy, and we're not waiting for that to be a recommendation. What we're saying is this is what we need to do to be safe. This is what we need to do to make sure this never happens again. And so there's structural issues with the police cars that we're working to rectify by retrofitting all the police cars with the proper cages. And so we're working on that as well. The answers to the questions about how the gun came to be in the car, we do not have. What we can tell you is that we're making sure everyone knows and remembers what they were taught in the academy, what they're retrained every year in service training, and we want to do that at least every day this week. We started last Wednesday when we addressed the commanders, that everybody is aware of the policies and the procedures to make sure it never happens again. I have the full support of Officer Holloway's mother, of his children. I talked to Nicole this morning. They are not angry. They're not placing blame anywhere. They're asking me to make sure that this never happens again.
Is there any comment you can make at this time about possible additional charges involving anybody except for Mr. Boyes?
First of all, I am extremely thrilled. Very good question, but I'm extremely thrilled about the speedy indictment for Mr. Boyes. And so we have a great relationship with the District Attorney's Office. We work hand in hand together every day. This is an example of what great partnerships will produce. The fastest indictment on a murder charge I have ever seen, and so we're thrilled with that. No, we don't have any new information about that. What we can tell you is that we knew Mr. Boyes was in the back of the car. We knew Mr. Boyes shot him. There's evidence to support that, and with that, they were able to bring a swift indictment, which we're extremely happy about.
In addition to the retraining, is there any potential updating to policies or procedures or changing the way some of those policies?
So the very same day this happened, I asked my senior leaderships to look at the policy, and we were looking at that. And throughout the week, it's been clear to us that the policy is clear, the procedures are clear. We just have to make sure everybody's aware of it, and all of us are at the top of our A game, making sure that we're safe and the people in our custody are safe.
Can you give us a rundown as to what NOPD standard operating procedure is for frisking, for handcuffing, for searching vehicles?
Well, that's a lot to go into right now, but officers are allowed to frisk for weapons when they believe that a person perhaps is armed with the weapon for their safety and for the safety of the person they're coming in contact with. There's Supreme Court precedent that allows for that. When a person is under arrest, they are allowed to do a full search, with the exception of a body cavity search, which obviously has to be done by medical personnel in a medical facility. Searching and frisking are very different. Frisking is simply patting down the exterior of clothing for weapons. Searching is a thorough search of the clothing of the body for weapons and or contraband.
Do you believe that?
Go ahead.
Do you believe that the .40 caliber weapon found in the car was Travis Boyd's weapon?
We don't know that, and so we're working through our investigation to get to that. It was found in the car along with where Mr. Boyd was, and we believe it was used to shoot him. And so how it got there, that's what the investigation will produce, and we will come to very conclusive answers about that. We're being proactive. We're not waiting for that. And so we were able to concentrate on Officer Holloway last week, and we are very grateful for all of you for allowing us to do that.
Can I ask, Art, what's the sentiment among your officers? Obviously, they're mourning the loss, but as far as policies, I mean, is there an apprehension or fear or anything like that after this has happened?
I don't know that there's apprehensiveness about this post-incident. I think you've heard people comment about officers being apprehensive because of the consent decree, because of all the other issues. You know, while I may be the chief and Chief Barty may be a chief, we're still police officers, and we still have to be tactically sound. We have to make sure that we're safe in everything that we do. And I think every police officer should practice that officer survival, those things they're taught in the police academy and retrained on every year to make sure that they're safe. And as long as we abide by the law and by the policy, I think they'll be okay. They shouldn't be apprehensive. I'm asking them to go out there and do their jobs. I realize we're asking them to do a tough job, a job that most people can't and or won't do. But we're called and we're chosen to do that. We're just asking them to be safe, and we want to take it upon ourselves to make sure that they receive the training, that they understand it, and that they can go out and apply it.
With your policy, should Travis Boyes have been frisked at least twice before going into Officer Holloway's vehicle?
According to the policy, should have been searched twice, far beyond a frisk.
Have you determined yet how many times he was searched? Or?
We have not.
Do you know
We have
how
not.
The investigation will take? What do you anticipate as far as
I don't know. We don't want to piecemeal the investigation. We want to be thorough. We owe that to Officer Holloway. We owe that to all of the officers on the police department. We owe that to the community who trust us to make sure that we get this right, just like all the other things that are entrusted of us to do. So we don't want to piecemeal it. We want to be thorough. I don't think it will take long because we have the absolute best and brightest working on it. I want to thank the Public Integrity Bureau, our force investigation team who are working on this case. They did a great job. Our Compliance Bureau, our entire team is working, number one, to bring justice to the person who did this to Officer Holloway, but the entire team is also working to reform the department, to give you the department you need, the department you deserve, and to make us the best department in the entire country. This is a proactive step today, which we started last week to make sure that we're on track to do that.
Chief, can you give us a little bit more detail about this retrofit of the vehicles and how it compares to what's in the vehicles now?
So there's a sliding glass in the middle of the cage. It's steel at the bottom. It's plexiglass at the top. There is a sliding glass to provide ventilation to persons that are seated behind it. We're going to have a steel mesh screen put into every one of the cars, well over 300 cars. And it will be a permanent fixture so that we won't have to use the sliding glass. That steel mesh will be a permanent fixture within the car. No one will be able to go through that ever again.
And that's a change you expect to come in the near future?
In the near future. I've already been given one to look at. We've already measured it. We've already put it inside of a vehicle to see if it would fit, if it was even practicable. We found that it was, so we're moving forward with that as fast as we can.
How often are vehicles supposed to be searched for contraband or weapons?
At the beginning of every shift, and before and after an inmate is put or a prisoner is put into the vehicle. So once we have a prisoner and turn that prisoner over to the custody of the sheriff, we're supposed to search that vehicle again for contraband that that prisoner may have left in the car.
Are there some difficulties simply because some officers are now having to share vehicles because you haven't gotten your other SUVs in just yet?
That's a procedural issue that we're working through, and the investigation will produce a recommendation on how to best go about that. But we share vehicles. Those vehicles run throughout the day and night, and they're turned over to the oncoming shift. And so those officers are supposed to check those vehicles prior to the start of the shift and after every prisoner is taken out of that vehicle.
It's possible Boyes could be facing the death penalty in this case. Do you have any thoughts or reaction to that? And has the family expressed anything along those lines, whether or not they want to see that happen to you?
I don't have any thoughts about that right now. My concern is that justice is served. I'm in constant contact with the members of his family. They have not expressed any concerns about Boyes and the death penalty. What his mother told me this morning was that she's not placing blame. She is not angry or mad. She has the spirit of forgiveness, and I committed to her to making sure that her son didn't die in vain, that all of us will do whatever we can as fast as we can to make sure this never happens again.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, right there you heard Superintendent of the New Orleans Police Department basically going over new policies and procedures. He says right now that the policies and procedures are in place. However, what he wants to do right now is train and retrain officers to make sure that everybody is on board with what they are supposed to be doing. Of note, what the superintendent says that they will be doing is not only training and retraining, but they'll also be working, partnering, if you will, with Louisiana State Police. What they're going to do is put metal mesh cages in the 300 or more police units. Right now there is a sliding glass door, and what they're going to do is put a permanent mesh in that area so that whoever they're transporting cannot get in or out of that area. He says he wants to make sure that it's a permanent fixture so that nobody can get into that. Also, we asked the question, what's the policy and procedure with frisking and shifting and checking the vehicles out? Well, the chief said that at the beginning of every shift and before and after every transport, those vehicles are supposed to be searched. The big question, of course, did that happen with Officer Daryl Holloway? That is something that they're investigating. So, of course, we do have a reporter there at the scene of that news conference that police chief just had. We'll have more for you on this situation coming up on WDSU News at 4, 5, and 6 o'clock. Have a good day.